Ask Alec.
So you really attribute a lot of your success to the reading ability. So two-part question. Do you think math is more important than the reading? And what do you think people can do to improve at the reading aspect? Like,
Well,
what do you
listen,
do to hone in on those instincts?
This is what happens. Math is more important than reading ability when you're a bad player. Math is more, so at the lower levels of poker, math is more important, until you get to a certain level.
Right.
And then it's reading ability takes over. Then now it's 90% reading ability, because you know how everybody else is playing. I know he's going to do that, he's going to do this, blah, 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 blah. It's a matter of thinking out some logical situations and then deciding what to do. You know, but then you also have to have a reading ability. I knew my friend late in the day here at a 3/8 when it came 8-8 jack. I checked right behind him. A queen popped off. Now I made a straight, and now I raised him enough to make sure no flush draws called. I had to isolate the 8.
Right.
And you know that I didn't need any reading ability to do that, but I had to make sure that if they had flush draws, they were out of there. I didn't want to be confused on the river.
Right.
So now I know I'm against a stone cold 8, and then I'm going to extract 3,000 to 5,000 on the river if the board doesn't pair. And if the board does pair, he wins nothing.
Right.
So then you have to punish it and raise 1,500 more. And so that's math right there. That's logic that gets me to make that raise. He made 4/8s, and it ruined my day because I think I won 10,000 instead of 3,500.
Yeah, it's sick when you go from losing a big pot to would-be winning a big pot. But I think you made a good point about the reading ability. I think that the math and the reading sort of influence each other, but you can only get so far with the math, especially against good players at higher levels. Some of it just goes beyond math. You got to look at the guy, like you say, look him in the eyes and know does he have it or not.
To put it more succinctly, everybody at the top layer of poker, all the online wizards have perfect math skills.
Yep.
But so I have to battle 100 guys with perfect math skills every day.
Yeah, but they go to live poker and it's hard to make that transition because they don't have that psychology experience.
Still, they're using great math to play No Limit Hold'em, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they still have to look at their hands.
Yeah, and even if they have the bluffing frequency right, you could still pick off the times they're bluffing, even if
one good read. I blew
exactly.
it to you against you today. I knew you didn't have anything, and I didn't follow through. And,
yeah, you were spot on.
I even
impressed.
said it,
especially because you have such a bad hand.
I could see it. I could see it in you, but I didn't follow through. But I told everybody. It reminds me of Daniel. I always tease Daniel about this, where he says, I know you have this. I know you have exactly 6-7. I call anyway. I know you have exactly 3. It's a call anyway. But I didn't finish with you today. That would have been fun to finish that pot, because I'm pretty sure you're going to give me another 3,200.
Yeah, I'm going on the river for sure.
And after 4 or 5 bluffs like that against me, then you become really afraid to bluff me, and you're like, wow, I don't really want to mess with Phil anymore.
Like you said, that intimidating factor, when people see you make those big calls, you know how that portrays against your image, for sure.
Every great player in history has made a bunch of big bluffs at me that I picked off, and now they just want to avoid me. And that makes it easier for me, because no longer they don't mess with me anymore.
No.
So that's been nice. But then you got a new crop that I have to pick off of their bluffs before they stop. And I'd actually prefer it if they bluff, because I'm going to win more tournaments that way.
So what's advice for the young guys out there that are, 23, 24, winning a big event, coming up in the scene? How do they stay around? What's the...
Well, you can't, if you're going to win a big event, try to attribute it to something other than yourself. Try to stay away from drugs. Try to stay away from drinking too much. I mean, I watch these guys win, and they talk about how great they are. That's ego sign number 1. Yeah. And all of a sudden they're at the clubs every night till 4 in the morning. You know what I mean? And they're partying.
Your vices that kill you in this game.
Exactly.
It's not being good at playing poker. It's just being a good poker player, right? Having all the other things in your life in line that you just don't dump it all away doing something stupid.
I'm very lucky that I don't have alcoholic tendencies, because I still like to go out and have fun, but I'm very controlled. Like I say before I go out, all right, I'm going out at 11:30, I'm gonna have 3 drinks, and I'll be home at 2:45. And if I do that, I stick to it.
Right.
Occasionally, I think I had the worst hangover of my life a couple years ago when I partied with Kid Rock till 7 a.m.
Yeah, but sometimes, let go.
Had to let it go that time.
All right, last question. The best advice someone's given you about poker, and if you could share it. It could be a one-liner, and who gave it to you? Something that stuck with you over the years.
It could
You
be.
played with all the greats, so I'm sure you have some.
I read some weird poker book that was probably never read before when I first started, and it said that in theory you should be bluffing 50% of the time. And that helped me a lot. Now, of course, I only bluff 10% of the time. But there's a lot of truth in getting more bluffs in.
Cool.
So,
Do it. You heard it from Phil. All right, thank you so much for your time. This was awesome.
Got it.
Cheers.